thanking y'all for coming out. Thanking y'all for praying with me because I know you are. I love to see y'all. I'm happy I can be here with y'all. Today our scripture is going to come from Job 13 and the 15th verse. Say amen when you arrive to the text. Job 13th chapter, starting at the 15th verse. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Y'all may have y'all seats. It took me a minute to come up with a sermon title. Battling all last night, yesterday, praying to God, asking him to give me a sermon title, and I wrote down what I thought he gave me. And around 5 o'clock this morning, my soul wasn't at rest with the title. And I asked God, well, you tell me what you want me to title this sermon. And he said, well, a man gave you the title years ago. A man y'all all might know by the name of Pastor Garrett. He told me, son, shake it and take it. And you'll make it. So just for a little while, I just want y'all to repeat after me. Shake it and take it. And you'll make it. Shake it and take it. And I'll make it. If I shake it and take it, I already made it. About 15 years ago, my pastor called me in the middle of the night, which wasn't uncommon. He would call me like that often. Sometimes he'll call me for me to, God might have gave him a dream that God might have gave me the interpretation of. Sometimes he might want to tell me a dream because he might come up later in his life or my life and just for an affirmation or to remember it. But this time he called me. He said, Mike, had a dream about you. I said, what was the dream? He said, I had a dream you was at one of our father's shops and you was moving furniture in and out the building. But you was stripped of all your clothes. But you was stronger than I've ever seen. Very masculine and very muscular. And at the time, I don't know if God had given him the interpretation, but for the love of me, I didn't know what it meant. Then one day, while I was sitting in the church, going through everything I had been through, the pastor said, that was my dream. God made your situation public. He has you set out your own furniture. They stripped you. You was naked. He allowed everybody to see what you was going through. But at the end of it all, you were stronger because of your situation and your trials and trouble. So I had to ask myself, so God, when you let these people talk about me, I got to trust you. When you let people stab me in the back, I got to trust you. When my midnights outweigh my days, I have to trust you. When sleepless nights become sleepless mornings, I have to trust you. And I asked my pastor, how can that be? He said, shake it and take it. Duly, you'll make it. Not too long after that, dreams started coming to fruition. I had bought my wife at the time a truck. Went inside the house, went to sleep, woke up in the morning, the truck was gone. That's not uncommon in Detroit. Got another car for a rental car. A pastor told me, he said, you got insurance on this car? I said, no, sir. He said, go get insurance tonight. I said, why is that, Pastor? He said, they coming to take them rims tonight. Before the morning, them rims be gone. Now, let me pause and tell you, when God take the opportunity to sit down and have a morning breakfast with the man of God about you, you stop and you listen and you obey. And just like many of y'all, I didn't do that. I didn't listen. And sure enough, as I came outside and auto started my car, the car was swaying back and forth. And I looked, and as soon as I'm standing in front of y'all, them rims was gone that morning. Now, that wasn't the end of it. I get another car. All this was within a couple of months span. I'm sitting in front of my brother Kevin's house for about 2 hours. Kevin come, he's like, Mike, I didn't know he was here with your car. I said, it's in front of your house. He said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. He said, no, it's not, Mike. I turn around, I look in the window, all I see is glass. I said, man, I ain't had the car but 3 days. I got it on the 6th. On the 9th, it's gone. Me and my brother Kevin looking all for it. We down block to block looking all for it. About a couple months later, they find my car stripped. I get it fixed. Call my pastor, tell him everything that's going on. He said, shake it and take it. You'll make it. I'm sitting in front of the shop. About 3 months to lapse. Cutting hair, bah! I run outside. A guy coming down the wrong street. Just got my car back, had it probably about 15 days. To smack my car. I called my pastor. I said, you ain't going to believe this. So much had happened within a couple months span. My pastor, while I'm talking to him, started giggling. I said, Pastor, I'm like, this ain't funny. He said, now you got to know my pastor, we talk a little different. Dooley, I don't know what to tell you. All right. At this point, I only got one thing I can say to you. I said, what is it, Pastor? I'm waiting for some encouraging words. Shake it and take it, Dooley. You'll make it. He didn't know that was going to stick with me for the rest of my life. And it carried me for years and years and stuck with me. Now, here we have Job. If anyone has the right to be upset, it would be Job. In the glimpse of heaven, God is having a meeting. And to just know if God is having a meeting and he thinks of you, while God is having a meeting in heaven on his throne, just know you somebody special. And understand that when God is having a meeting about you on his throne, that before the situation comes, he know the outcome. And as the devil was walking, he said, where are you going? What have you been doing? I've been going around the world to and fro. And out of nowhere, while Job ain't bothering nobody, God said, well, have you tried my servant Job? He said, just like many haters that we have, the devil say, well, Job only like you for what you got and what you can do for him. And I'm paraphrasing. And he said, well, strip him of everything, but don't touch his health. And as he gets stripped of everything, and let me tell you, it's nothing like a good old-fashioned hater. And I'm not talking about these new day and age hater where you do something to him and they hate you. I'm talking about these haters that you don't even know their name. You don't know where they come from. You don't know nothing about you. They just choose to hate on you. He wasn't bothering nobody. He ain't had nothing to do with nothing. He was a God-fearing man. But the devil decided to hate on him. He didn't have no issues with nobody. You asked, he might give it to you. He was very wealthy. He was doing good for himself. But the devil decided to hate on him. You at your job, you ain't bothering nobody. The lady in the cubicle want to talk about you. You don't even know their name. You can care less, but they want to hate on you. You at the barbershop, you getting a haircut, and they just want to hate on you. I'm sitting in the barbershop the other day, and everybody don't fully know the other side of Mike, and I'm cutting this guy here, and when he come in the shop, he say, you need to hire better workers. I say, what you talking about? And he pointed at the guy, he fussing at him. The guy don't even know the man's name. He still get a haircut, and he delusional because he started talking about another barber at another shop, so we just all think he, like, something wrong with him. I've been cutting his hair for years. He get out the shop, and he said, I'm sick of all y'all talk about light-skinned people. I said, man, this is a barber shop. That's like me saying I'm sick of these guys talking about fat people. Ain't nobody here is like, wow, Mike fat? Like, that's not no surprise. Or I ain't gonna wake up in the morning like, man, you know, I just realized I might be a little overweight. That's not gonna, like, that's what we do, man. So he have his little words, and in the middle of the night, 2 days later, he had the nerve and the audacity to text me and put my kids in the text message. And I'm a young guy, but I believe in old school ways. I'm not going to text you back and forth arguing with you. It's just something my blackness not going to permit. I can't do it. So he come past the shop into another guy's business. I got to go see him. Just has to happen. I walk over, we have a few choice words. And I said, man, what is your problem with me? Man, a couple years ago, my nephew came in there. He said he heard a customer come in and say, I don't like light-skinned people. I said, wait a minute. So you mad at me for something that happened a couple years ago that a customer said? You ain't got nothing else better to do with your time? But when God give you haters, he give you haters for a reason. And I had to realize that my anger was going to a place that it could not go. But without that hater in my life, I would have never noticed that. I'm talking about the outside pack, people ready to jump on him, take his life. And the outside the shop pack, y'all about to jump on me. I said, I ain't come out here to jump on you. I came one-on-one. But at the end of the day, these people love me. But then I had to realize, man, something wrong with this man. But then I had to realize and look at myself and like, Mike, something wrong with you. Because at the end of the day, this man is God's child just like anybody else. But if that hater had came in my life, I hadn't realized how much anger I had stored up and built up and hiding it was inside of me. When God give you haters, he give you haters for a purpose. A hater is a hater, and he need to be a hater. You don't get mad at a lion if you lay a piece of steak down there and he eat it. So don't get mad at a hater if he see your life going good and he hate on it. That's what he designed to do. He's a hater. So when the devil came and tried Job, he didn't like seeing Job was wealthy. He didn't like the fact that Job had his kids looking good. He didn't like the fact that Job's wife looked nice. He didn't like the fragrance that Job had on. He didn't like what was going on in Job's life. But he had to hate because that's what his job was to do. When you have haters in your life, they come from all unexpected places. A hater might be living with you. A hater might be in the bed with you. A hater might be your best friend. A hater might be your boss. But a hater is one of the best things that has ever happened in your life. Because when they say you can't, that's God's opportunity to say you will. When they say you won't, that's God's opportunity to say what you will have. When they close the door, that's God's opportunity to open the door. You have to know when you're going through and you have these haters who to talk to. Job sat there for 7 days with his mouth shut, faced to the point that his own friends didn't even recognize him. Body pussy, messed up, lost his family, lost his health, didn't lose his health, but health was deteriorating, lost his cattle, lost his money. And then his friends come, and they have literally nothing nice to say. They going through everything and blaming him for everything. His wife telling him, curse the day you die. He's so upset and he's going through it so much that he even asked God, the breast milk my mother gave me, let it be spoiled. He didn't want nothing to do with the world no more. But the friends didn't help. Just when you think your friends is going to be there for you, that's exactly when they're not going to be there for you. And sometimes you just got to have a one-on-one talk with God. And when you have that one-on-one talk with God, he will open doors that you would never think would be open. He will open doors that's been shut. He will open doors that you had never even thought would be there. He will walk the path with you. And when you can't walk the path, he will walk the path for you. But when you have that one-on-one talk with God, he is always, every time, going to be there right on time. The songwriter say he's an on-time God. Yes, he is. He may not come when you want to, but he always right on time. And I've always had a problem with that because me not wanting him to come, he may not come when I want him, but when he come, that is the right time. And that's the time I want him to come. When he want to come. I don't want him to come before that. I don't want him to come after that. I don't want him to come between that. I want my God to show up when he want to show up. He sat there. They had nothing nice to say about him. When I was going through the situation with my kids, I would talk to people. And one guy said, man, why you just don't let them go? I looked, I said, yeah, I can promise you that'll be the last time, man, you ever have a conversation about any kids. Because you weak-minded. And you let the world dictate how your kids is going to be raised. And I have never had another conversation with them. You got to choose who you discuss your business with. Because everybody don't have the right mindset for you. Everybody don't mean well for you. Some people want to see you down. Some people want to see you destructive. Some people want to see your demise. A lot of people don't even care about you. You have to be alert and understand who you talking to. And if you have the best for you, the best for your life. When I was going through, there was two people I talked to, Pastor Garrett and my brother Kevin. When I wanted spiritual advice, I talked to my pastor. When I wanted some worldly advice, I talked to Kevin. When I wanted a lashing, sometimes I didn't know I was going to get the lashing, but when I wanted a lashing, I would talk to Pastor Garrett. Because sometimes you have to, some things you just need to hear that you're not going to understand. I sat there one time and I couldn't find my kids. Didn't know where they was at. I knew some was in Texas and some was in Arizona. Some people don't know this. My kids was literally kidnapped. From August to November, I didn't see them. Road got real tough. It got to a point where I would pull up a video of my kids laughing and playing. And I would talk and have a conversation with the video as if they was there. My daughter would be laughing in the video. I say, Daddy, coming for you, baby. I promise you, I'm coming for you. It got tough. I didn't know where they was at. The struggle got real, as y'all would say. It got difficult. I would try to talk to people, and I would try to get away from the emotions that you have in your head. And as I would try to do so, I just had to realize certain people that have the best mind for me, the best for my well-being or my kids' well-being for me. And I had to disconnect myself from certain people. And I called the man of God, and he gave me some instructions. And I sat there literally like a movie at one time. All I had to go off was a picture of my kids in Arizona with 3 addresses and a roof. And for hours, I sat there and I looked up every apartment complex in Arizona until I found a building that looked like it. And that's how I got my kids back. But if I would have continued to conversate with these people that don't mean the best for me or don't really understand what I'm going through, I would have never, ever got my kids back. So you have to disassociate yourself with people who doesn't mean the best for you. You have to understand that God gives you people, and most importantly, God gives you a pastor after his own heart that will lead you and help you to understand certain things. This goes further past the pulpit or the pews or his office. And I'm not here to say that he's perfect. But what I am here to say is that God called him. I had to understand that God called him. So if God called his name, then surely God will talk to him about me and my situation. And I disassociated myself with certain people because they didn't mean the best for me. And I had to intertwine and be evenly yoked at that time with somebody who I knew meant the best for me and my kids. Now, there was one man by the name of Elihu, who sat there and said nothing. He was younger. Out of all Job's friends, he let them all talk. He let them have their conversation. And it was something that was going on in the conversation Job never realized. Because Job still thought he was right. Job still thought he knew what he was talking about. And he had to tell him, if you don't mind, let me speak for a minute. I kept my mouth shut because y'all older than me. But let me tell you, and this is clearly from the word of God, you feel right in your own way. And if Job had not went through what he was going through, he would have never known that deep down inside he felt righteous. Deep down inside, he was stubborn. Deep down inside, he really wasn't paying attention that I thought I was everything when I'm really nothing. He had to have a conversation with him. He had to have a conversation with somebody who was listening to God. And in the Bible, he said he was talking to Job and God was talking to Elihu. So when you're going through things, you have to make sure you're talking and keeping it conversation with the right people. And that's going to lead me to one of my points. The higher the level, the higher the devil. To get elevated, God got to send you through the storms. God got to send you to places that you never thought you would go. He got to take your pain so down deep into the trials and tribulations to the point your pain has pain. To the point your trials have trials. To the point your tribulation is tribulated. God got to break you sometimes so deep because he knows what he has for you. And the vessel you standing in now is not the vessel he needs to pour into. So the higher the level, the higher the devil. But the blessing is each level you go on, God is right there with you. There's not a level that God ain't going to meet you at. Today's problem was wrapped up in yesterday's grace. And the grace and mercy of God is so good that he meets you on every single level of your life. Whatever struggle you're going through, whatever trial and tribulation you're going through, God is right there for you. There was a time when my son was in the hospital bleeding internally, and I didn't know what was going on with him. 7 doctors surrounded his bedside, and they didn't have no answers at the time. He had blood coming through his stool. And at the same time, while he's doing that, see, God is so good that he has the ability and he will bring you through the storm. But don't think while you're in the storm you won't go through another storm. See, there's certain storms that have just rain, then there's certain storm that has rain and thunder. Then there's certain storms that have rain, thunder, and lightning. There's several different types of storms. So while my son's sitting there, my mother-in-law decided to drop my daughter on the ground on the IV table, and she had a hole in her head. I'm broken now. I'm lost for words. God, I'm already in a storm. I'm already at what I thought was the point of brokenness. I'm already where I'm torn down. I feel weak. But God came and comforted me, and he said it's going to be all right. And when he said it's going to be all right, the doctors walk in and say, your son got a touch of E. coli. He's leaving today. And I had to realize that God has been with me every step of the way. When you feel like you lost, when you feel like he's not there, he's right there. My second point is, Job was wealthy. He had a lot of money, but that couldn't give him salvation. My second point is salvation is free, but it ain't cheap. See, we think because we walk this walk and we talk the talk of loving this great man called God, Jesus, his son, that things was going to be easy. I'm here to tell you you wasn't called for an easy life. You wasn't called to sit here and have a peaches and cream type of lifestyle. You was called to be bruised like his son was bruised. You was called to be hurt like his son was hurt. You was called by God to go through storms and trials and tribulations. See, this salvation is free, but it ain't cheap. It costs. It may cost you a little, it may cost you a lot, but it's going to cost. You may lose a little, you may lose a lot, but it's going to cost. You may have up days, but you're going to have down days. It's going to cost. You may have sunshine, but you're going to have a whole lot of rain. It's going to cost. You may have some good days, but you're going to have some bad ones. It's going to cost. You may have a smile, but it's going to be more frowns. It's going to cost. But when I tell you, for everything it costs, it's so well worth it. Because I've been in troubles and trials and tribulations that I didn't think I could get myself out of. I've been in front of judges that have sent men to jail with way more money than me, and I didn't think I could get myself out of. I've been in front of guns that have killed people, and I didn't think I could get myself out of. I've been in car crashes that have killed people, and I didn't get myself out of. And I know for a fact that God was there with me every step of the way. His salvation is so good. The salvation of Christ is so good. A lot of times, we waste so much time with complaining, and we don't give God enough glory for what he's done for us. Job did a lot of complaining. Job was very stubborn. And then God had to talk. Job, who are you? You tell me where you was at when I carved the clouds. Job, you tell me where I was at, where you was at. You tell me where the storm clouds rest at. You tell me where I hide the pillars of clouds at. You tell me where I hide every snowflake out. You tell me who carved every snowflake. You tell me, Job. You tell me who separated the east from the west. Job, you tell me who separated the earth from the land from the sea. You tell me where you was at since you're so smart. And I had to realize I had a lot of Job in me. I had a lot of Job in me. But then I had to realize my third point. Satan's job is to destroy, and that's God's opportunity to bless. A couple of weeks ago, pastor was preaching. It's been tough. Try to get through this without getting emotional. Sat there and looked at them pews, and it was empty. As pastor was preaching, God said, pray for it, you'll have it. I said, God, all I want is my kids. That's all I want. In the process of eviction, preparing for so many courts, going to court 3 to 4 times a week sometimes. But all I want is my kids. There was a movie with Liam Neeson that came out. It's called Taken. And in the movie, when they took his child, he said, I don't have much. But what I do have is this particular set of skills. That may be bad for people like you. And I had to encourage myself. I don't have much. But who I do have has a particular set of skills. That make it bad for people like you. And I will find you. And God will take care of you. The devil's designed to steal, kill, and destroy. That's God's opportunity to bless. The suffering doesn't make sense, but it makes all the sense to God. Because the suffering grows. We look at suffering, God looks at opportunity. We look at closed doors, God look at open doors. We look at suffering, God look at elevation. We look at suffering, God see Jesus. We look at suffering, God see a better business opportunity. We look at suffering, God see a bigger house. We look at suffering, God see a new promotion. We look at suffering, God see your family back together again. We look at suffering, God see the beating of his son. We look at suffering, God see Jesus walking them dusty roads. We look at suffering, God look at Jesus hung on the cross. We look at suffering, God see Jesus in us. I'm here to tell you that God saw Jesus when you go through your suffering. Your suffering was meant to give you pain, but if you shake it and you take it, God, Jesus, you'll make it. I'm here to tell you, ask David. David will tell you the suffering is sweet. Daniel will tell you how you sleeping on lions like pillows. Jeremiah would tell you God will bring you through, and when you think you can't go through, when you don't want to talk no more, it'll come through like fire shut up in your bones. I'm here to tell you the suffering is meant for it, and if you shake it and if you take it, God, you'll make it. When he walked them dusty roads you did, he was beat all day long, he was beat all night long. He died for my sins and yours. He was buried in another man too. But hey, Sunday morning, he died for my sins. And I'm here, he came and he was rose again. Thank you, Jesus, for all your many blessings. I'm here to tell you, the suffering is well worth it. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. It's well worth it. I look at them pews and they full with children because God, your suffering was well worth it. As you shake it, you take it, and God, you'll make it. He's been good. He's been good to me. He's been good to me. Early Sunday morning, he's been good to me. Early Sunday morning, slow sleepless nights, he's been good to me. Early in the midnight hours, he's been good to me. When I couldn't see no way through, when I couldn't go to sleep, he'll rock you like a baby. He's been good to me. God told you, shake it and take it, you will make it. I don't know when you'll make it. I don't know when the blessing coming. But I promise you this, if you shake it and if you take it, how do you take it? Through the blood of Jesus, the same way Jesus took it. How do you take it? You take your lashes the same way Jesus took it. How do you take it? You take the bloodshed the same way Jesus took it. That's how you take it. You shake it, you take it, and you'll make it. Shake it. You shake that off of you. You shake it. You shake it off of you. Shake it off.
Go ahead and worship him. Everyone standing. Shake it, and you take it. You make it. Go ahead, church. Lord, I know you've been so good. Watch over me all night long. Lord, I know you've been so good. Lord, I know you've been so good. Come on, doors of the church open. Lord, I know you've been so good. Over me all night long.
Thank you for watching this video.
Lord, I know.
Pray that you'll be with us at 8 o'clock and 10:30 in-person service on this Sunday.